So the LGBTQI community should wake up. Very much so, especially with regards to what Nicola Sturgeon is doing here. In this video, we're going to talk about the swift political move that she made recently and some of the more interesting things that are going on. Again, we always talk about the factually based information that is presented on this show, so let's get into it. So recently, Nicola Sturgeon did two very interesting things. Now, for those of you around the world that don't have a clue who Nicola Sturgeon is, she is the leader of the SNP party. I call it the Satan's National Party. But she is one of the foremost advocates for Scottish independence. Now, to me, whenever somebody comes along with that line of thinking and is so fiercely going after something, I begin to wonder why. What is it about Scottish independence that she wants so much? Now, she's already proven, folks, that she is not trustworthy with money. She's not basically straightforward and as loyal to the Scottish people as what she claims to be. So with that in mind, here's the latest thing that you need to be very, very much aware of that has actually happened within probably the last month, already in 2023. The first thing is the definition of a woman has been redefined. Now, I found this really interesting. Like, when did it get to be that defining, a gender was so difficult? Like, my definition of a woman is really simple: not a man. It's the same definition of cold, not hot. Or the same definition of hungry, not full. When you get to, well, what does it mean to be a woman? Well, it means to be a menstruating thing and whatever other stuff that they put up there. And then something else happened in very short succession immediately afterwards, which was that anybody, no matter the age, could be given gender reassignment surgery without medical diagnosis or proviso. Essentially without medical influence or involvement at all. Oh, what an agenda is being played here. So immediately when this came about, I do the thing that I always do, which is I go away and I think about it and pray about it and listen about it. But I didn't need to in this particular instance because the whole truth was staring me point blank in the face. Nicola Sturgeon wants Scottish independence. She realises she's not going to get it. Because the majority of Scotland's people have voted and said, no, we do not want Scottish independence. We're already seeing how Europe is facing and how we are coping with the change since Brexit. And it hasn't been the easiest of change. Recently, what was the EU has declared that basically it's going to be a lot harder for us to trade within the European Union. It's also going to be a lot harder for us to travel, to do business, to do work out there as official of the 31st of December 2022. But here's the really interesting thing that Nicola Sturgeon, to get back on point, Nicola Sturgeon thinks that, well, I want Scottish independence. Now, what the real motive is behind this, I am still wondering. And she said to herself, well, I know that I'm not going to get Scottish independence as things are, so what can I do? She did a very shrewd, very evil, but very shrewd political move. Because if you know your history, it's the exact same move that was done in the 1940s and 1950s after World War II and when they were trying to rebuild Britain. They got shipments of people from the West Indies to come on over and to help rebuild Britain. Help make Britain great again. That's what they did. And then in the 1970s, 1980s and 1990s, they decided, oh, our country's overpopulated. We're having a failing system. There's massive strikes. We can't cope. So if you aren't a legal subject, you need to get out of our country, was the exact words that they said. And people that have been here for 30, 40 years that were actually born here, that were British citizens, were dragged from their home. They were literally ripped from their safety and seclusion, and some of them were put back on ships and booted out of the country. That's exactly the same that's happening here. You might say, well, what on earth is that going to do with the LGBTQI community? I'm getting to that. Where does the church go when it needs more members? Where do businesses go when they need more customers? Where do political parties go when they need more supporters? They go to the marginalised, they go to the desperate, they go to the people in need. And she went to the LGBTQI community and she sat there, I'm sure, at one point at the night, and she thought to herself, what could I do, what could I do, what could I do? And she thought to herself, there's enough members in the LGBTQI community that if I said, well, let's redefine what it means to be a woman. Let's make sure that gender reassignment surgeries are available for everybody, without the need of a doctor or a psychologist. A very dangerous thing to do indeed. Very dangerous. Because when you actually get down to the root of a lot of the gender reassignment surgeries, A, they're having them reversed, sometimes 2, 3, 4 years after it's been done. B, the amount of damage that's been done is irreversible, spiritually, morally, ethically, mentally. C, the majority of people that are going for these gender reassignment surgeries end up realizing that there was a psychological issue that was there. And fourthly, she's doing it without medical proviso at all. Oh wait, that's the exact thing that they've been waiting for a lot of people. How great Nicola Sturgeon is, they say to themselves. It's a shrewd political move. And when she's got what she wants, she will ditch you just like the rest. In fact, I want to get really close because I want you to see the whites of my eyes when I say this. She will ditch you just like has happened in politics before. Do not succumb to temptations to get what you want or what you think you want, because more and more people are realizing that they should not trust their feelings, because their feelings can be fickle. Some days you can feel more masculine, some days you can feel more feminine. That doesn't mean that you need to go ahead and change your gender or change your sex. Got news for you folks, you're either a man or a woman. There's yin, there's yang, there's male, there's female, there's hot, there's cold. There isn't hot, cold, lukewarm, boiling hot, freezing. It's usually one or the other. And then you have these little expanses afterwards. Do not trust a politician who claims to give you everything that you want. Because more is at work here than you realize. And to side with her would be a very dangerous thing at all. She is not doing this for the next generation. She's doing this for herself. She's already proven that she is not for the people. Very few politicians these days are for the people. Nigel Farage, who now is one of the glorified sons of all of social media. He turned out to be one of the biggest liars on the planet when he said the NHS is going to get, 20,000, 40,000 per week? And this is when all this was going on in the Brexit. And then when it turned out to be lies, he left and went and hung out with Donald Trump for a while. Don't trust Nigel Farage. We have got to be more awake. We've got to be more aware as to what's going on. There is a battle that is going on for your very existence here. And honestly, I have got a lot of friends within the LGBTQI community. That is why I can say these things very freely. I've got a lot of friends within the political community as well. But more importantly than that, I notice the signs, I notice the omens, I know history. That's why I study the 6 major ones of art, history, business, theology, psychology, and philosophy. Because if you know them, you learn them, you can see what has been done before. It is a political move. But more importantly than that, I listen to divine guidance. And that isn't some spiritual, super, wishy-washy kind of thing. It is being able to see beyond the obvious. And it is being able to see and hear more than what people just say and do.